We start this hour with an exclusive interview with Prince Harry and Meghan, who've been talking to the BBC about the dangers to children from social media. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex met with a group of families last night who believe social media played a part in the deaths of their children. The BBC's John Kay was there and will play you that interview in just a moment or two. Well, separately today, British and American parents who've lost loved ones took part in a protest in New York aimed at improving online safety. They've marched to the offices of Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, saying that stronger regulation will save young lives. One other important development linked to all of this, the UK media watchdog Ofcom has announced today its new children's safety codes. By the end of July, social media platforms and websites must carry out more robust checks or face big fines. Well, more on all of that in just a moment. First, though, this was Harry and Meghan speaking exclusively to John Kay from BBC Breakfast. The exchanges were conducted off camera, but this is the audio which starts with Meghan talking about the stories she'd heard from various families.
These are families that we have been working with for several years, and the families from the UK meeting them tonight, I think, sort of speaks to the larger global issue that has been very present on all of our minds for years now, which is no matter how polarized the world is or what people may or may not agree on, one thing that we can all agree on is that our children should be safe. All of our children should be safe. And I think tonight all of these stories solidify that.
I'm an incredibly new parent.
So congratulations.
Asking for advice because social media is so prevalent. What would you say to parents who are trying to navigate social media with their kids right now?
Well, the easiest thing to say is to keep your kids away from social media. The sad reality is that the kids that aren't on social media normally get bullied at school because they can't be part of the same conversations as everybody else. Life is better off of social media. I say that as a parent, and I say that as someone who's spoken to many of the kids here tonight who aren't on social media because they've lost a brother or a sister to social media. But clearly enough is not being done, right? Some of the stories here are truly harrowing. Having done this for the last 3 years, and being aware of it for the last 5 years, you think you've heard the worst of it until nights like this. Here in America, some of these stories, they're crime scenes, like full-blown crime scenes, and yet these companies are getting away with it by saying we don't need to give you disclosure. For the UK families, some of the arguments that are being made around privacy. So you're telling a parent, you're telling a dad and a mum that they can't have the details of what their kid was up to on social media because of the privacy of their kid. The parents who have seen their kid from the time that they were a child, it's wrong.
Where do you hope this goes next then? What would you like to see change?
I think the work that we've been doing through the foundation, specifically the Parents Network in this program, creating this community for all of these parents, and beyond the parents, the families, the friends of these, the siblings, the friends of these children, to really be able to maximize the global messaging on it, because it is a universal truth that our children are in harm's way by what's happening online. And I think for those who do choose to be online and to be in social media as adults as well, that we get to set the example and really put as much good and joy into the world as we can. It's like that old quote, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And I think in many ways what we see through these parents is the hope and the promise of something better, because every single one of them in their resilience is an example, as they will say, their mouths, if you're able to speak to any of them directly. They just want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. And we are just here to support them in that in such a huge way. One of the fathers said, he's like, all of these photographs, as you can see, illustrates the children that are lost, but we don't have our photographs of all the children who will be saved. Wow. And it's so powerful if you look at it through that lens. So that's what we're here to support.
It's beautiful. It's like really it's like it's so dark, but at the same time there's like a silver, I don't know if it's a silver lining, I don't know what it is.
Well, it's a language that no one should have to speak, but they can speak the same language with each other.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful to have created that space for them to be able.
And it's a community that shouldn't even need to exist. Yeah. And yet it's a growing community every single day, tens of thousands of parents. Like it's.
What thoughts do you take home with you to your children?
We're just grateful that our kids are too young to be on social media at this point. Right.
And when you think ahead, when they won't be able to avoid it?
One of the reasons why we're doing this is because us collectively with all these parents want to make sure that things are changed, right? So that no more parents and no more kids are lost to social media. It's unacceptable, it's wrong, it's no longer a secret, and yet these companies are given this power to be able to conceal the truth from parents as to why their kid took their life.
Well, that was Harry and Meghan talking to the BBC's John Kay. Now, as we mentioned, a group of British parents who believe that social media played a part in the deaths of their children are there in New York, forming part of a protest aimed at improving online safety. They've met up with American families who've endured similar trauma. John Kay has more now from New York.
In New York's Central Park, 6 British families. Their stories are all different, but they have one thing in common. They all believe social media played a part in their children's deaths, and they've come to the United States together to remember those young lives and to lobby global tech firms to make the online world safer.
Yeah, we had a loving son, and we've always been, loving parents to him. And to do this together for our son Jules and for all the other children we want to help and parents out there, this is why we're here.
Some of these parents met for the first time on the BBC Breakfast sofa last year, like Liam, whose daughter died 3 years ago.
That caught her on a bad day, and it took her. So sorry.
Now, Maya's use of social media is to be examined at her inquest.
I knew that something external had affected my child's life and my child's mental ability to cope with something that she was far too young to cope with.
Last night, the British families met American parents who have also lost children. Today, they are joining forces, holding a protest and a vigil to highlight online safety back home and around the world.
Coming together and working together and forming coalitions and stuff and understanding how we can push the agenda will get us closer to where we need to be so we can really have a safe, internet for not just a certain country, but, globally.
Seeing all those families who've all lost children and those parents in a similar situation to us is hard, but it's, as I said last night, it's stronger together in numbers, that force of we're here all for the same purpose to pull together and be stronger.
Social media companies are making changes. Meta says its newer products, like teen accounts on Instagram, provide more protection and allow parents to play a greater role in how their children use the app. But these parents say that should only be the start. And even though they all have different campaigns and different priorities, they say they will stick together, support one another, and fight as one.